Okay, welcome back to the channel. So we're going to talk about NAMM predictions 2023. Of course, we saw some early releases of Clavier, Nord, and we saw Halion 7 as well. But so today I'm going to talk a little bit about a few other companies of what I truly expect, and sort of we'll kind of maybe have to delve back into a little bit of the history and see how I've come up to these conclusions. So first thing first, Native Instruments. I truly believe with all these multi-gigabyte library, predominantly software manufacturers, although Native Instruments does make hardware in forms of controllers and all that. But I think, it gets to the point where you can only have so many sounds at one time. You got to market your core bread and butter in another way to sort of compete with everyone else. And what better way would that be than to actually have an actual hardware controller like Complete Control has, but with actual DSP in it, actual hardware. You're talking about basically a Linux build inside of a hardware, whether it's a complete control or both. Sort of like the machine, we'll call it plus if you will, but no one's going to let a Kai sort of just eat everyone's lunch on that. So I think that's going to happen. I think it's going to happen this year. That's my prediction. As far as the monetary and how they're going to make money, it's not going to have the complete ultimate in there. It's going to have some kind of new version of Complete that's going to be designed to start you out. Whether it's like a Roland cloud subscription where you subscribe and you can just keep on loading sounds in, or whether you have to buy these packs a la carte. But I think it's about time. And I want to say the Dave Smith Prophet X was sort of like that first version of a really big rompler inside an actual piece of hardware. Now, as it relates to Spectrasonics, I'm going to put this out here. The reason why I feel all this is going to happen is that there is a race to see who can get it in the box. These multi-gigabyte libraries. We know Spectrasonics for the past 2 or 3 years had the hardware profile support. We all know that it's garbage. It actually works terrible. I mean, I've tried it with my Summit. I also tried it with my Polybrute. And then I tried it with my Nord Stage 3. I really, truly believe the good folks at Spectrasonics, they were trying to do some beta testing on the backs of all the other hardware companies. I mean, it's a very smart thing to do. Why not? You don't have to make the gear, but you can get the feedback from the users' feedback. So I truly believe they're truly researching minimally, if not putting Omnisphere in the box, but actually making an actual hardware controller. So can you believe an Omnisphere controller would make Omnisphere a whole different plugin alone if they don't change anything? Okay, like a USB dedicated controller. Okay, prediction. And by the way, like I said, IK Multimedia, UVI, Spectrasonics, Native Instruments. I might be leaving out Arturia, perhaps. Whoever can successfully get this standalone hardware piece out first, I think, could potentially be a trend center. Okay. All right. So next prediction, Korg Chronos. So whether they call it the Thanos, Aphrodite, whatever Greek god or legend, new hardware profile, new not hardware profile, but new flagship, for Korg. I actually believe that they had something out and they had to recompile their code because a lot, the Kronos has been out for a long time. And the MPC keys especially, putting it into the keyboard was a far more revolutionary of a concept than it was as it relates to how workstations should be. So I truly believe Korg actually went back to the drawing board. And so the Nautilus was probably just a a bridge gap to buy themselves a couple years, if not 3 years. So I do expect something, like I said, the timing with all this, if Korg doesn't come out with anything now, this would be a great time for Native Instruments to release something so they can establish themselves as sort of the new king of workstations on the block. It's a possibility, okay? And they're due for it. What were the other predictions that I thought that was relating to that? Roland, okay. Roland's been sort of relatively quiet since 3.0 firmware for like the Jupiter X, the Junos, the Phantom, workstation. I think no new hardware. Roland's thing is all about firmware, charging you for increased functionality in their new firmwares and so forth. So I think we're going to be looking at firmware updates, big ones. So for example, you might see the Phantom X sound set, perhaps. And that depends on the licensings of Spectrasonics, because Spectrasonics does own some licensings for some of that work that they did, that they were contracted for. But I see a firmware update, and they're going to resume with their Zen Core, adding, lineage from their synth collections. I see the JP8000 as being perhaps actually, if not the D50, the JP8000 as their next hardware model that will go into the Junos and the Jupiter X's. So I see that happening. So although we did see the Steinway V piano model and all that, so I wasn't impressed with the original V piano model for the Phantoms. Didn't care for it. And so those are sort of the actual predictions that I have. As far as Yamaha goes, I think they're bullheaded. I think, I've had a Montage 7 a couple times. I've actually had the Montage 6. It's just not my cup of tea. I know there are people that use it and all that. And I'm not talking about Dom and the product specialists, but I'm just talking in general. They're I don't know what you want to call it. Not a vertical thing, but they're stuck on that. They buried themselves into it, and when they added the 2.0 update with the sequencer, I think they found themselves so knee deep into that development, and they gambled wrong on their design and form and functionality, and they couldn't get away from the motif. They just couldn't see themselves getting past something that they had put 16 years into, and Montage is not a format that I think that can propel them, but I think they're bullheaded, and I think that they're sticking with that format. So nothing by Yamaha. So I said Korg, Roland. Already talked about those two. Kurzweil had released a new keyboard out. We know Nord, whether they do a VA synth again, Nord Lead 4 is I don't know, God knows how old. It's almost in double digits now. It's starting to get really old. And so as far as the major big heavy hitters, I think that's my NAMM predictions for this year. And so I'll watch this video, after April 15 passes and see how close I was. So any questions or comments, and thanks for the support of the channel. Please don't forget to tap the bell, hit subscribe, and thanks for everyone for the support of the channel. Peace out.